Hello,
Hello there.
how are you, Nina?
I'm doing
Welcome.
well. How are you during this wonderful?
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. We are doing great. Well, but now is the moment where we're gonna learn how to stop because we've been online now for 5 days.
Oh my.
So now we are ready to talk about digital wellness after all this marathon. But thanks to this, Nina, just so you know, we got people from 76 countries, thousands and thousands, and this is really good. I think the message that we are bringing to so many people and the hope uh, and the reactions that we are getting, I think is worth what we are doing. But thanks to you, we are going to learn how to be healthy from a digital perspective. So welcome to the World Happiness Week, and it's a real pleasure partnering with you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I know that it's been such a year of everyone being online more than ever before. So I'm excited to be teaching you all just some kind of tips on how we can be healthy tech versus anti-tech and really achieve wellness and happiness in this increasingly digital era of ours.
So let me introduce you to Nina for a minute. And what is going to happen now is that Nina is going to give us a perspective on digital wellness and really practical tips around unlocking the opportunity to be more healthy, even with digitization and social media. And we'll see that there are always pros and cons. So Nina Hersher is the CEO of the Digital Wellness Institute and co-founder of the Digital Wellness Collective. So I think these two entities are making a profound impact around the world, and we are super happy partnering with you into the broader perspective of wellness, wherever it is digital, non-digital. So this is fantastic. And then after Nina's presentation, there will be a short break. We are actually going to play the trailer for the social dilemma, which is very hot right now. And then we are going to move into a panel discussion led by Nina that is going to be spectacular. So with that, Nina, let's go deeper into digital wellness. Let's learn for you.
Thank you so much. I have some slides I can share if
Sure.
that's all right with you, and I can kind of just dive right in here. Okay, here we go. Okay, can everybody see this all right?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. So there's so much I can talk about on this content, but in terms of kind of the crash course, what I'm really excited about is to give you all a kind of sneak peek into some things that you can start doing at home to kind of improve your wellness, increase your happiness, and also look at, ways that you might be able to work with your teams, with the people in your household to make all of those dynamics flow a little bit better. And so we like to say that this crash course is really your playbook on how you survive in the remote work era. I also want to just kind of give you all a little bit of context on me. I came to this work a little bit differently than some of my peers. And so I've actually been in speech therapy since I was about 4 years old. And growing up, I had a very hard time talking, and I used eye contact to let people know that I was trying to connect with them when I was trying to speak. And when I was in my early teens, even as young as kind of 10 years old, I would notice that sometimes people didn't even know I was speaking to them because they were texting. And so I was seeing this shift having to do with presence, having to do with engagement. And it really fascinated me and informed a lot of my professional journey, which looks at the norms of connection and how our changing norms of connection are truly reconceptualizing how we develop as humans. And so I always love to start by kind of normalizing this. Like, what are we all experiencing together? These are some amazing images from Eric Pickersell, a photographer who's really studied what do the dynamics of kind of screens look like at home? And are we sometimes together apart? Are we sometimes apart together, connected, disconnected? And so maybe you all can kind of relate to some of these things you're seeing when you intend to have quality time and we get kind of pulled away by these distractions and notifications in different ways. And so some words that might come to mind for me are, of course, distraction, phrase, maybe lack of presence, but also people want to be physically near each other. And that's, of course, what we miss so much right now. And so here's one more. This one is funny and also a little bit terrifying. How we can want to kind of check our social media accounts and different things instead of being in these moments all together, really just enjoying these experiences. And so something that we've seen is since February, searches for how to get your brain to focus have increased by 300%. So we're all trying to do our best at work. A lot of us are working from home. And so it's really now time to give intention to our attention, as we like to say. People are experiencing Zoom fatigue, continuous partial attention, constant connectivity, decreased engagement within their households and their families, and so much more. And so as we're at this inflection point in history, it's really time to see a change. And the question is not about how we adjust to the new normal, but it's how we can make the present even better than before. And that's why at the Digital Wellness Collective and the Digital Wellness Institute, we really try to be healthy tech versus anti-tech. Because especially right now, no one's looking to be shamed about their screen time usage. We're looking to adapt. We're looking to flourish. So we're calling this the Great Reset. 4 market trends in this category of technology, wellness, and digital wellness that we'd like to share. The first is that there is a serious skills shortage. And so overall, we're seeing that over half of the employees in their current roles are new to this idea of remote work. Over 76% of them have never received any formal training in how to work from home, and 77% would love for their employers to provide this type of training. The second is that there is a wellness crisis looming. In fact, it's already here. And so 50% of people are reporting new aches and pains, maybe some tech neck. 46% are feeling isolated working from home, and 36% are concerned about the long-term impacts of all of this on their mental health and happiness. And so all of this kind of culminates in an opportunity for us to rethink, how do we do work? We're seeing that 75% of employees want to keep working at least, partially from home after the pandemic. We're exploring this kind of idea of hybrid work. People are also reflecting and saying, hey, I actually am feeling more productive at home. And that's an interesting one because we're seeing that people are actually working longer hours than ever before because those kind of lines between work and home are so blurred that it's harder and harder to disconnect, say at 5 p.m. or at the end of your workday. Also seeing that remote workers are 3.2 times more likely to be productive and feel satisfied with their social connectivity. And so not everything is lining up, and people are having very different experiences when it comes to remote work. So overall, this is showing us that there is a need to train workers in digital wellness practices, with a total of 83% of employees looking to their employers for guidance, navigating these new pressures, and many employees feeling ill-equipped to deal with these new pressures. And so what is digital wellness, you might be wondering? Very simply put, digital wellness is the optimum state of health and well-being that each individual using technology is capable of achieving. And so this in really kind of consolidated frameworks is, what does wellness look like in the digital age? Some people confuse digital wellness with tech-enabled health, and sometimes that's involved. But this is, more broadly speaking, what does wellness look like in the digital age? And so we're seeing that digital wellness is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. It's something that we have to put first. We can't fill from an empty cup, right? And so at the Digital Wellness Institute, our amazing research director, a positive media psychologist over at Chapman, Sophie, she helped us to create this idea of digital flourishing. And we love this wheel because it's very grounding, it's very orienting. It helps us break down how all the different kind of subtopics are connected, but also how people may be experiencing areas primarily in 1, 2, 3 areas. And so this concept of digital flourishing essentially says, how can we enjoy everything that technology has to offer us and flourish online while avoiding some of the associated harms, being informed, avoiding some of those harms like tech neck, avoiding some of that social comparison that we kind of feel deeply on social media. And so while all of these are separate categories of wellness in their own way, it's also interesting to think about and acknowledge how this as a holistic model is really all interconnected. And so, for example, if someone says, hey, Nina, I really want to reorganize my home office. It's not working for me. I can't focus. That might fall into the environment category, but we also need to look at, productivity. What do the interruptions look like in that environment? How is that affecting their focus? So you can see kind of how these things are connected, even down to communication. Are they letting different people in their household know when they need that deep work time so that they're not interrupted? We have an expression that we say, clear is kind. So are we telling people what we need so that we're creating that environment for us to flourish? And so when we're assessing and addressing digital wellness, we can kind of think of it as this continuum. You can see this graphic on the lower left-hand side here. And so digital flourishing is that sweet spot right in the middle. Digital detoxes are amazing. I love them. I do them a few times a year, and they're not always sustainable because our work does require us to be plugged in, because we are connecting like this online, and that's a beautiful thing. And so if you all go to digitalflourishing.com, you will see the beta version of an assessment that's currently being validated. And it's the only tool that looks at how are you flourishing in different areas of that wheel we just showed you, and what are some concrete tips so that you can improve in each category. So definitely check that out and stay tuned for the validated version coming soon. And so this question of how can I live, how can I embody kind of these positive digital boundaries when the culture around me is demanding otherwise? And so there are two kind of concrete tips I can give you right now. The first is this idea of a flexible routine. So something that we've heard from a lot of folks in terms of a presenting problem is, hey, I used to have this great routine, and now I have kids at home doing school, and it's hard for me to get to the gym or to take that walk around the block. And so letting kind of old norms go and updating in present time, what can we do to practice self-care to support our own happiness so that we're not filling from an empty cup? And so this idea of flexible routine essentially asserts that you can make a list of, hey, these are short breaks, these are medium breaks, these are long breaks. Here are just a few examples. And having that list on hand allows for you to more easily take a break when you're feeling overwhelmed. So let's say I have, only 2 half-an-hour breaks until 5 p.m. today, and there aren't any, online classes for yoga or Pilates or anything like that during those times. If I have my list of flexible routine ideas, I can look at it and say, you know what, I do have time to walk around the block. And just by having that list, that kind of support system for yourself, it's so wonderful, because it encourages people to do something versus doing nothing, and to feel like that kind of time suck of their workday just resulted in them not exercising all day or not stretching or not doing anything like that. So definitely encourage everyone to create their own flexible routine ideas list, both personally with the people in their home, maybe even with the people on your team. And so we're seeing also that you can, increase your connectedness with your coworkers by having not only a flexible routine, but also by learning how to write a communication charter. And so you might, hear this called a team charter. There are kind of different names, but it's a helpful exercise to say, hey, what is your preferred method of communication? Because I'm on Instagram, Slack, G Hangouts, Clubhouse, and it's just so many different things. what do I check to connect with my people? And so especially when it comes to your friends and your team, it's about taking your agency back and saying, these are my preferred norms. And so using, less tools and having more focus and letting people know what your preferences are. This is really powerful. We've seen it change entire team dynamics. This is also a workshop that we offer out of the Digital Wellness Institute. And so just a few things to deepen your learning. To recap, you can create a positive digital culture within your organization with things like that communication charter. You can take the digitalflourishing.com assessment. You can even send the results to yourself, your friend, your clinician, if you're working with a mental health practitioner. And you can support your employees with intention setting around what time do you want to be off work and what are the extenuating circumstances, because there always are some based on your industry, households, for when maybe you just have to do work, and that's okay too. This framework of kind of and not or is when we make the exceptions, or we kind of integrate like an individualized approach for people based on their unique job. And so we just last week released our ebook. It is that playbook for thriving in the remote work era. And so if you go to Amazon and type in digital wellness, it'll pop right up. And we've arranged to have it available, the e-copy, for 99 cents through the end of today. And it is just chock full of tips. This was just skimming the surface. So that's a great resource. We also have free resources if you go to Digital Wellness Day. We're doing a major site update today, but on May 7th, we have this holiday where hundreds of companies come together and hold public-facing events. Some hold them on productivity, some hold them on environment. And last year, we had over 35,000 people attend all of those different events, and we had this great community organizing e-toolkit that reached 1.2 million people. So those are some great free resources. I guess this is just a quick outline of kind of what's in the book. We have the fundamentals of the attention economy. We have a section just for employees and a section for teams, and really diving more into that positive work culture. And so for those who are interested in diving deeper, we do have the only 10-week certificate program. We're an impact partner of the Social Dilemma. You can get digital wellness certified through us. And so with that flourishing wheel that you saw, we actually have 1 week per topic with an intro and outro week. And we have over 26 of the experts all in one place to teach you that content. And so our next cohort launches on May 14th. And if you use the promo code LAUNCH, all caps, you can get 25% off the program through tomorrow night. And so that program is appropriate for all of these kind of groups, but so many more. We've had outdoor equipment companies register to look at their branding. We've had clinicians, educators, professors, people from the Army, award-winning journalists. You're going to be hearing from Mark Cabra next. And there are just, I think, so many different ways that we can use this knowledge as we update in present time. What does wellness and what does happiness look like in this digital era? And so check out digitalwellnessinstitute.com if you're ready to become an active educator, or if you want to apply this to your own life. And with that, I'm just going to pause for a second and see if there are any questions. I know I'm going to keep an eye out in the chat here. We have kind of an internal chat for some questions that might be coming in from social media. One question that I can anticipate is, okay, so I'm a parent, where do I go? Or I have teens in my household and we're all on very different pages. And so one really amazing recommendation I can give you is for the Children's Screen Time Action Network. They have this incredible, rich community with different resources and really kind of concrete guidance on what are the right ages and stages for using tech. Also that common sense media big company you've all heard of. My co-founder, Susan Reynolds, also created a youth incubator called lookup.live, and it is all about digital wellness solutions brought kind of forth by teens and by college students who are guiding that conversation about how they want to talk about this topic, how they want to teach this topic. And so those are some really, really great resources that I can definitely recommend. The other question that I get asked a lot is, what is the biggest change that I have made in my life? And so one of the biggest changes I've made in my life is to take half an hour in the morning and the evening to reclaim my peace of mind. I think sometimes we wake up and we're tempted to check our phone immediately, or we feel like, oh, I'm awake, I have to start responding to emails. But half an hour, you can wake up half an hour or wait half an hour, it's up to you, makes such a difference in terms of setting the tone for your day. Something that I don't think is talked about nearly enough is that when we go to sleep, we're actually in a light state of hypnosis. And so anything we expose ourselves to, such as the news, is going to trickle in that much more and have an impact on our mood and potentially on our mental health in the long term, depending on the consistency of kind of those practices and those habits that we've created for ourselves. And so by leaving my phone, and we actually have an unplug/charging station in the kitchen of our house, everyone leaves their devices in there. It kind of helps with that collective accountability. It helps to bring us back together. It helps to wake up, to have that morning ritual carved out, and to have your phone in a place where you don't see it immediately, so you're not even tempted to reach for it. It's really about creating the conditions for success, both in your own life and with your communications, so that we can all flourish both online and offline. I am aware that we're coming up on time, and so I'm going to take a look and maybe take one more question, also turn it back over to our amazing host when we need to wrap up. Is social media related to loneliness? Great question. So the answer is sometimes for some people. There's a wonderful new field called positive media psychology that I really encourage people to look into. And it really gets to the heart of what are the practices online with social media? What are the differentiators that can help us feel connected and supported versus lonely? So definitely look into positive media psychology. And one kind of personal practice that I can recommend to you all is this reflection on, let's say that you all have like an inner pilot light and you go through your day and you do different things, and then you go offline and you're saying, okay, I'm going to take a break. And then you're like, oh, I actually want to go onto Instagram for my break. No judgment on what type of break you take, but asking yourself this question: are my breaks effectively recharging me? And looking inward and seeing, is this activity, is reading this person's post, is following this influencer lighting my inner pilot light? Or does it feel like it's blowing it out? Do I feel worse after? And so that has to do with kind of technology mindfulness. And as I talked about at the beginning, how we can bring our intention to our attention and be very mindful about kind of being responsive versus reactive, especially when we are on social media, both pertaining to our own mood and as digital citizens of this world. So thank you all so much for your questions.
Well, and thank you so much, Nina, for this fantastic overview. So just in a few minutes, in less than 20 minutes, we are going to start an amazing panel with Pulitzer Prize laureates like Mark Cabra and so many other experts that are going to be led by Nina. So I just want to say thank you so much for this fantastic presentation, and I see you in just a few minutes, 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Happy World Happiness Week.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.